everyone, welcome to your weekly edition of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Lauren Urbonis and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Now this is actually a recording of a video that I did a different week, I think it was last week, and I got some feedback that said partway through the video my audio completely cut out. So hopefully this one works. I cleared off my computer because it was getting a little bit full, and I think I figured out what the issue was, so we shouldn't have any garbled details, but I did want to refilm for you guys so you had this full tutorial. Now if you watched it before, I hope you enjoyed it still, and perhaps this new recording will give you a chance to see the cards from start to finish. So if you're somebody who follows Stampin' Up! Closely, you will know that not only do we have wonderful catalogs, but we also have something new called online exclusives. And Stampin' Up! Has been offering these for about a year now. And what they are is a set of products. There's often paper, stamps, embossing folders, embellishments, ribbon that are not tied to a specific catalog. The nice thing about that is when they run out, Stampin' Up! Is able to order a new set of them instead of sometimes running out of the catalog lifetime and then never being able to replenish them. So it's something new they're trying. They're going to try different things all the time, I'm sure, but that is just the gist of what is being offered. There was a bunch of new products released on July 3rd. So if you go to my website, it's kind of hiding at the bottom of the page, laurenurbonus.stampinup.net, and in the top little search box, type in online exclusives. You will see this beautiful Changing Leaves bundle, as well as a bunch of new Christmas bundles, Christmas paper, there's Halloween bundles, Halloween paper, and some everyday items as well. We do also have 2 new kits every month that get added to the online exclusive section, and then products like these are often introduced every 2 to 3 months. So I'm going to use the Changing Leaves bundle today for you, and I'm going to show you how to make a series of cards using the products. So here's my little sample. I'm going to walk you through how to make each of them using different elements of the bundle. Card number 1 would be perfect if you're just purchasing the stamp set. You're using your own inks and paper in combination with the Changing Leaves stamp set. Card number 2, we're going to do a little stepped up version and add the embossing folder into this. And then card number 3, we're going to utilize both the dies and a fun technique with the embossing folder. So join me. I'd love to see what you guys create. Whether or not you have the Changing Leaves bundle, it's okay. You can also do this technique if you own any other leaves, some flowers, something similar, but let's get crafting. So here's card number 1. We're going to start with a base of Blackberry Bliss. That will be 4 1/4 by 11, and I'm putting a score mark at 5 1/2. If your intent is to make all 3 of the cards that I'm doing, you will need 3 card bases with these measurements. We're folding this one in half, and then on the inside of that, I'm going to put a piece of cardstock to write on. Now, with my sample here on the left, I used basic beige. I wanted something a little deeper. And now on the right, I'm going to do a version with very vanilla. I wanted to see how these looked different with just the different card base. So very vanilla. Later on, you are more than welcome to come back and stamp in here if you want to. It's completely up to you. There. All right, now for the front of our card, we also need a piece of very vanilla. So again, if you're using all 3 of the designs, you will need 6 pieces of very vanilla, 2 for each of your card. Now, I'm going to move my card base out of the way, and I'm going to show you how to do this stamping technique on a scrap piece of paper. So I've got my paper here. There's your sample to look at. What we're going to do is we're going to mount the 2 stamps that we want to use, these 2, onto blocks, and then we're going to grab 2 colors of ink. You can choose anything you want. I'm going with Pool Party and Misty Moonlight because I wanted a non-traditional color scheme, but you can choose anything that you would like as well. You will need some sort of sponge dauber. So whether you have these little finger ones, or you have a blending brush, or even a Q-tip, or really anything else, you're going to need to have that handy. And sorry, I'm just noticing my fan turned off. I'm going to turn that back on. My other little cheat. Now that it's super hot, I wasn't sure if my laptop was getting too warm, so I've been putting a fan on it. All right, here we go. We're going to take our largest stamp first. Whew. Pardon me, it's been a long day. All right, and we're going to ink up the lighter color. So for me, that's Pool Party. Now with my little blending brush or sponge dauber, whatever you have on hand, we're going to add dark color. So that is my Misty Moonlight, just to some of the leaves, like this. So you can add as much or as little color as you like, but you're adding 2 tones. You could do 3 if you want it to be really risky, to your stamp. Then we're going to stamp that right there. I also forgot to mention, usually the first thing I do is a sentiment, because depending on what you have as their sentiment, you kind of have to work around it. Mine will be fine. I chose the little thank you stamp from the Changing Leaves bundle. So I'm just going to drop that into the bottom corner, and I used early espresso to add my sentiment. Back to our leaves. Sorry, that was a little bit of whiplash. So this is looking cute. I'm going to add another leaf now. Same idea. I've got my light color first. Then I'm going to come in here with my sponge dauber with the Misty Moonlight and do a little bit of technique on there. And you can go all over the page, or you can go kind of in a line like I did on this one. Maybe this one will go a little bit more dangerously, take over more of the page. And then last but not least, we're going to add one more large leaf. You do want to work relatively quickly because you don't want the ink to dry on your stamp here, but it is pretty forgiving. You have a few seconds to work with it. If it started to dry, you can always just huff all over your stamp. It adds a bit of moisture and gives you a chance to kind of not have to redo all the work that you've done. There we go. So there is your card number 1. You have added 2 tones of color simply by putting one dark color on top of a lighter color. And then you'll just add this to a card base and add some dimensionals or dimension with embellishments if you'd like to. So this is a great technique for any like sunflower stamps or really any flower stamps. If you've got other leaves, you can use them too. But I really like the Changing Leaves bundle for the products that I'm going to show you next. That includes an embossing folder and a great set of dies. Ooh. There we go. That's better. I think I have some embellishments. I'm going to throw on some of my Mediterranean blooms. Little embellishments here. These ones, I think I used the metallic set, the sparkle ones with the gold, silver, and black, but any embellishments are going to be great. They'll all look good. So there's card number 1. Now let's say you bought this bundle and you bought the embossing folder as well. So we're going to quickly come over here, grab ourselves a base, pretend I put something on the inside, and pretend that we've gotten to this point on our card. Exactly the same as I did for card number 1, only this time I'm going to add a little bit of embossing detail in the background. So I'm going to take my gorgeous embossing folder, this beautiful thing here, and I'm going to rest this inside and run it through my cut and emboss machine. Now you might want to move this around just so that you get the right leaves in your space that you want, but it's completely up to you where this sits. I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to do this on the floor because it's easier, but I have put my base number 1, that's that nice thick base, my 3D embossing folder, and then my 3D embossing plate goes on top. If you have purchased this recently, it will be gray. Mine was the original bluish, purplish. Now, when this comes out, you have a nice embossed background. Because it's embossed, you're going to want to be a little bit more intentional when you add your adhesive on the back. I tend to do the entire perimeter when I have this point because I do really want it to have the best chances possible to stick. So I'm going to do the entire perimeter before adding it onto the card front. There we go. And once again, you can add some gems. Maybe this time we'll try some white ones. It's very subtle. They're kind of cute. There we go. And there is card number 2. Easily stepped up. Card number 3, very simple to add this next step, but we're going to get a little inky, so that's why we save it for the end. You've got your card base. I actually don't think I need that one anymore. Got your card base. We'll pretend I've put something on the inside, and then we're going to step our card up and make this version here using a few of the dies that come with this suite, as well as a fun technique with the embossing folder itself. So before I jump ahead to that technique, because we're going to get inky, I'd like you to cut out, if you have this, a little leaf using Night of Navy and a little decal using very vanilla or basic beige or white, whatever you're using. And then I do want to show you a little feature about this die here. I'm not doing it on the cards that I'm showing you today, but if you're interested and wondering how you can use it with your embossing folder, this is a specialized folder. It's called a hybrid embossing folder. So what you can do is it will actually go around your dies here. It doesn't fit in any of the other spaces, but if you were to put a piece of paper into this other side, I should probably show you. Let me grab a piece of paper. Something. This is a scrap, so keep in mind it won't cut all of them, but it'll cut something. Put that inside here. Close this up. Now, when I cut, it's going to emboss and cut these pieces. So again, keep in mind, we're not doing that on today's card. You can do it in the future with your own projects. See? So pretty. Nice and embossed. And of course, if I had done a larger piece of paper, I could have done all of the dies, but I'm just using a scrap because I wanted to show you how it worked, but I didn't I didn't have use for all of the dies. Okay, so I can save those and probably use them for something in the future. But I did want to mention that this die is great because it embosses and cuts, or you can simply use it to cut these guys as well. Let's go to card number 3. Here's where we get a little bit of fun. Okay, so let's pretend we've done our stamping. Up to this point, we've done the leaves. We're happy with them. We decided not to add the sentiment in the corner because, of course, we have our beautiful decal, and we're going to stamp that in early espresso to add a little bit of life. This one says, "A little note to brighten your day," which I like to send out to people periodically. And now we get to have a little bit of fun. Okay, here's our pieces. Here's our embossing folder. We get to have fun putting color into the embossing folder now. So when it imprints on the page, it's not only lifting the paper up, it's also pressing some color into it. So we're going to grab 2 sponge daubers. One is going to be our light color. We're going to start adding that pool party right into the folder. If you're wondering which side to do this, it's the side that has all of these indented in the page. It's also the side that has the Stampin' Up! Decal on it. Okay, sorry, you should probably be able to see. So it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to add a little bit of color. In fact, a little bit of white or ivory showing isn't going to be a big deal. It'll look rather neat. And also keep in mind your paper is not a full 6x6, unlike this embossing folder. So pick one edge that you don't need to worry about going right up to the edge for. I'm doing pool party all over the leaves. I want to get every single part of them. And then with my Misty Moonlight, I can be a little bit more sporadic. I can just come and add color to the tips of the leaves, some of the middles of the leaves. I don't need it everywhere. Here we go. Now, when you are ready, we're going to bring in our beautiful piece of paper. Keep in mind that whatever side you've stamped on, you're going to want to press in towards the ink. You want those two to match up, okay? And put this down in one fluid motion. Once it's down, you don't want to move it, even if you feel it's crooked. This all looks crooked, okay? The designs will work themselves out. Put it in place. Your colors are matching together. And we're going to roll it through the exact same way. Big fat plate, embossing folder, 3D embossing plate. Are you ready to see it? This is always the risk of filming a video. What if it didn't work? It worked. Look, so pretty. All those different colors kind of all mixed together. So we can pick whichever way you would like to face up. I think this side would be better. And I'm going to add it onto my card front. So I have some very solid, bold colors, and then some very subtle colors from that embossing technique. And again, feel free to mix up the colors if you decide you want a different set or one color in the stamping, one color in the embossing. That's the joy of playing around. You can kind of see what works for you. There's the front. And now I'm going to pop my little sentiment up on dimensionals so that stands out on the card. I put mine down in the bottom right. And then I did just want to finish it off with this branch. So the easiest way to attach that is using a glue dot. These rolls of dots here, put it right onto there and pull them both up at once. I've got this dot of glue on the bottom of my leaf, and I can just tuck that in behind my little sentiment. Now when I add some jewels one last time, wonder if I should add blue this time. We went with a blue flower or leaf. Maybe we'll try blue. One large, two smalls. There we go. And there is your third and final card. Okay, I'll pull them out once more for you. There we go. Card number 1, we played with just the stamp set. Card number 2, we added embossing. Card number 3, we threw a little bit more funky design in there and embossed with color in the background. So I'd love to hear in the comments which one draws your eye. Are you team 1, 2, or 3? A, B, or C? Which one do you think that you'll play with or do the most? I'd love to hear in the comments. Speaking of comments, please always feel free to ask questions or give me feedback. It was really helpful for those of you who did put in the comments that the audio was cutting in and out. So please don't ever feel bad telling me about that, because I usually just watch the first 5 minutes or so when I load these to make sure they're going, and then I don't watch them through all the time. So it was nice to craft with you guys again today. I hope you enjoy our projects, and make sure to tune in every Tuesday to Lauren's Scrap Lot so that you get new crafting ideas every week. Bye.